Good afternoon and welcome to Nutmeg Sports on the HAN Network. Frank Granito in studio alongside Kevin Coleman. Thursday, February 15th, as the girls tournament has officially been set for the FCAC playoffs in basketball. The boys taking a lot of shape last night with some games. Hockey, the girls' top four teams have separated themselves, and the boys now have 6 definitive teams with a clear path to the postseason. So everything now in the last official week of the season, Kev, right in front of us. We're going to have playoff hoops on the network on Saturday. Said it yesterday. I'm going to say it probably every day moving forward. It's the best time of the year.
It is, and we're looking forward to Saturday. I mean, you look at last night, a lot of people had their eyes peeled on Darien and Fairfield Ludlow last night to see which team was going to win. If Fairfield Ludlow was able to escape and bring home the win against Fairfield Ward, they would have been in. If Darien was able to win, I think they had to wait and see after they beat West Hill. But a lot of people had their eyes glued on Twitter last night, seeing all the scores. But Darien ultimately with a big win, and Ludlow just came up 3 points short of beating Fairfield Ward. And to me, it sounded like a great night over there at Fairfield Ward. Also, the boys' game was pretty close as well. But you gotta tip your cap to the Fairfield Ludlow Falcons. What a great rebound they had in the second half of the season to come back and be there on the final day. Just unfortunate they fell just a little bit short.
All I wanted was to hear you caw.
Maybe next year.
Just one time. Maybe if they go on a run, make it to the state semifinals, you will make the Falcon noise. But mark it down now. If Ludlow can make it to the state semifinals in girls hoops, Kevin will make a Falcon noise on the air. That is official. He has no say in the matter. You're right. It was a tough way to see it end when you look at those last 2 games. Difficult task with Staples and Ward staring in front of the Falcons. But going from 1-5 in conference play, finishing 8-8, it's a pretty good turnaround, and I think they've got a lot of momentum. They've learned a lot about themselves, and they'll have confidence heading into the state tournament.
They will, and they have a lot of players returning next year, which I think is huge. A lot of sophomores, a couple of freshmen stepping up big, but it's a really good junior class on this Falcon team. So they're going to be just as good as they are next year, maybe even a little bit better. So they learn from this experience, and they'll move forward and be a better team next year in 2018, 2019. So it's going to be fun to see the progress that they make. But again, they fall just a game short.
Disappointing on that side of Fairfield, but obviously a lot of smiles right now down in Darien and the big senior class. The efforts by Haley King, Katie Ramsey, Chrissy Fiore, enough to pole vault the Blue Wave into the postseason. They are a team, Kevin, with their size can cause matchup problems for Trumbull down low.
They can, and that's a good matchup, a 1-8 matchup, and Trumbull can't look past this game because this is a very talented Darien Blue Wave team. You got to give them a lot of credit, too, to see where this program has gone. They reached the FCAC postseason. They're going to go to states. What a great season the Blue Wave have had this year on the girls' side of basketball. Katie Ramsey and Chrissy Fiore have been great. Haley's been great as well. Just a great season for those 3 seniors, those 3 captains. So it's going to be fun to see how they match up against the Trumbull Eagles. Obviously, we know how good the defense is for Trumbull. How do they match up? How is that half-court press going to match up against the Blue Wave? We know how good they can run in transition. Fast team, a lot of athleticism is going to be on the floor on both sides.
A lot of buzzwords in there: athleticism, press, transition, all of which I want to use to segue into last night's game that we saw up in Bridgeport Central. We'll have plenty more on the girls' tournament in a little bit, but Central, Stanford, number 4, number 5 in the conference, separated by just a game entering play last night. 2 teams we hadn't seen yet, but we were very excited about their, I want to say, upside heading into the FCAC tournament. Neither jumped off the screen with their full ability last night. I don't think Stanford played particularly well, put themselves in trouble early on. Central, obviously the better team, but still had a lot of room for improvement. If they can piece things together, that is a Central team, as DJ Fulton said afterwards with you. They can run the table.
I agree. I'm all on board with Central doing work here in the FCAC postseason, not just the FCAC postseason, but I think they can do work as well in the state tournament. This is a very talented roster filled with guys who can move up and down the floor very quickly. You saw last night in the game how quickly they move in transition. Even when Stanford scored, they quickly inbound. They're looking up the floor right away. So that's something that I picked up right away, and Stanford just didn't get back on defense. Other thing is Stanford didn't take care of the basketball. Their defense, the man-to-man defense that Central put on Stanford last night was incredible. Some of the best man-to-man defense I've seen so far this year. They are in your face the entire time. Great on the boards, although I think Stanford That was the one thing I did like. I thought Tevin St. John was great at. When he beat his defender, he was able to go inside, penetrate, get upside. But if he missed his basket, he was able to get his own rebound. That's the only negative I had from Central last night, is that the offensive rebound that they allowed Stanford to have was something that is a little bit of a cause for alarm. But they have the size down low. That's just a little tweak that they can fix by the time we get ready for the FCIAC postseason.
I don't know if I can be as lenient with Stanford. For me, I think we saw a lot of the problems that we are comparable to what we talk about with Wilton. They rely heavily on that three-point shot. Was on for them at points in time last night. But you're right, turnovers, obviously, as we said before, too, turnovers is going to be a big difference. Too many turnovers to overcome. But I didn't feel there was any structure, real structure or flow to the offense.
Yeah.
You know? They were really just fighting it. It was a lot of, I'm going to call it playground ball, where a guy's just trying to win one-on-one battles and, best case scenario, just throw a blind pass to a corner hoping someone's there to chuck up a three. That's not the way you're going to win games, especially in this tournament.
No, I agree with that in terms of the playground, aspect of it. It looked like they were doing way too many they were trying to call ISOs, and you're right, just too many guys trying to win it for themselves, not for themselves, but trying to do it on their own. And there was no flow to the offense. They just couldn't see him, and that's credit to the Central defense. And I think that's why you couldn't see Stanford really get anything going the offensive side. They couldn't really get any play calls, had difficulty moving the basketball around, especially in that first and second quarter. Second quarter, I think, really killed Stanford in moving the basketball around. But it's the transition game for Central that if they want to make it to that FCIAC final game, teams have to realize that if you turn the ball over, there's no chance you're stopping the Central team because they are just so fast up and down the floor.
74-60, the final score from Bridgeport Central. Let's take a look at the highlights now from the Hilltoppers' victory.
Couple of quick steals, and just like that, a three-point Hilltoppers advantage.
You see how aggressive. Here comes the trap for Central.
Great work by Bell, swinging through defense, out to Jackson on the wing, and it's a good three-point shot, tied at 9. For Fulton, back to Riley, and waiting behind him to catch that one, but unable to finish was Fleming.
If you're Stanford, you can't allow him to get his own rebound like that.
Williams open in the corner, three-pointer is good.
They also have to look back because Central's moving in transition real quick. Even if Stanford scores, they are flying up the floor.
Fulton, pull-up jumper, nice touch.
Silky smooth from DJ Fulton.
Bell with the rebound, high off the glass, and that shot good.
So there you see, really we didn't talk about it either. Central, that first half, shot the lights out behind the arc.
They did, and you look at some guys like Darius Washington, Zach William. I thought they shot the basketball extremely well from three-point range,
especially coming off the bench too from William there.
Right, and I thought Raquan Wiley and DJ Fulton were great down low. Those two guys have the size down low. Riley at 6'1", Fulton at 6'6". Those two guys, you could tell, are comfortable coming outside the top of the key and then dishing it off. Pick and rolls were established as well. Guys were getting open. They were allowing DJ Fulton to get open on the post, as well as Riley. Those guys you saw in the highlight right there, you saw one of those jumpers that Fulton hit just so smooth. He's able to, dribble, beat his defender, post up a jump shot, and he's also not afraid to penetrate inside and get himself to the rack. And also, he struggled a little bit from the line last night, and he mentioned it.
The whole team did.
The whole team did, and I asked him about it last night, and he said it's just an off night for me, and he wants to be better. You could tell, and that's what I like to hear from him. Is that he said that's not acceptable for me to be able to not shoot that well. So expect to see DJ Fulton keep his game going, be able to move inside, penetrate, get to the rack, get fouled, go to the line. That's going to be another big piece coming up in the tournament for the Central Hilltoppers.
A huge win for the Hilltoppers. We're going to explain what it means more when we get back to Nutmeg Sports on the HAN Network.
Set sail on a summertime adventure with Sail Away Sailing School. Located in Captain's Cove Seaport in Bridgeport, we're sailing June 18th through August 10th. 2 sessions offered daily, Monday through Friday for ages 9 to 15. Have fun, make friends, learn to sail. Visit teamsailaway.com.
At Pamby Motors, we're not worried about being the biggest dealership. We're focused on being the best. We're dedicated to giving you the best experience we can. The Pamby Motors team is here to help you choose the right Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, or Ram in a friendly, pressure-free environment. And right now, during Ram Truck Month, get up to $14,000 off on all in-stock 2017 Ram 1500 pickups. Come in and see us for details. Visit Pamby Motors, Route 7 in Ridgefield, PambyZone.com.
At Budget Blinds, we're in business to frame the light, the day, and the night. So we give you an exclusive combination of high style, expert service, our no surprises pricing, and our no questions asked warranty. We believe that everyone, at every budget, deserves style and service. Isn't that a beautiful place to be?
If you've ever thought about owning a motor coach or learning about what it's like to travel the open road in superior style and comfort, then contact Dave's RV Center in Danbury, Connecticut. Offering the best quality Class A motorhomes from Newmar, travel trailers and fifth wheel lines from Surveyor, and a toy hauler line from Work and Play. Choose from Newmar's Gas Line, Baystar and Canyon Star, or from Newmar's Diesel Line, Ventana and Dutch Star. And with unparalleled service and maintenance, Dave's RV is committed to keeping you and your motor coach safely on the road and enjoying it to the fullest. Stop by their showroom, 2 Industrial Plaza Road, Danbury, Connecticut, or call 877-483-3866.
Welcome back to Nutmeg Sports on the HAN Network. Frank Granito in studios. We're taking a deeper look now at where the teams sit after the dust settles last night in boys basketball. We're going to bring up the standings now. That win puts the Hilltoppers up into 4th place here, Kevin. Really, they haven't clinched yet, and obviously 2 games separating them and Danbury and Trinity there. But another win with their tiebreakers and their quality win over Trinity Catholic, and Central will clinch a spot. They've got favorable games left in the FCIAC. Obviously, they've got Trumbull remaining, and then they'll also take on McMahon, who is mathematically eliminated. Trumbull now on the outside looking in, sitting there at 9th. Things are getting tricky for the Eagles here.
They are. It's tough because they could win 10 games this year and not make the playoffs. They could win 11 games and still not make the playoffs. That's how close this final spot is going to be in FCIAC boys basketball. We saw it last night. We saw how close it's going to be for girls basketball, just the same as in boys. You know, you got Norwalk sitting in 7, Wilton and Trumbull right now, neck and neck. Wilton right now has a tiebreaker over Trumbull because they beat them during the season. But still, Wilton has to be careful. They're taking on a Stanford team we saw last night at Stanford. That could be a difficult game for Wilton. So we still have 2 or 3 games left. Each team has maybe 1, 2, or 3 games left. Those are going to be some big games. You look throughout maybe 6 through 9 right now in the standings.
It's a really big game because Stanford still has Trinity looming on the calendar, who is trying to jump over Danbury, potentially get into that 2nd spot. Wilton has also got Ludlow.
Yeah.
So they've got a big one there that they should be able to win with ease. Trumbull has got Central remaining and then Danbury remaining. Norwalk with Ludlow still on the calendar, and they'll also take on Darien. So I think Norwalk, when you look at it all, in the best position amongst these teams with remaining games. But
Trumbull.
Don't rule out Ward also being in trouble here possibly.
That's true.
You know, Ward has still got to take on Ridgefield, and they've also got, excuse me, I'm sorry. I had it right here and I just lost it. They have Ridgefield remaining. That is it.
Well, you look back, remember when it was Ridgefield Ward sitting at 1 and 2? We were looking at it, everyone was saying, man, can't wait for that final game of the season, Ridgefield against Ward, the battle for first place. That's what happens in FCIAC basketball. Things change, week to week. You have tough losses, and you go through a stretch where you lose some games. Ward now in a little bit of trouble. I think you look back and you ask me or you or anyone else back in January if Ward was going to be in this position, we'd say no way. But this is how close and how tight the FCIAC boys basketball is.
I like Ward. They've got McMahon there as well. I think Ward gets the win they need to get in, and they're going to hold the tiebreakers over Wilton, over Trumbull. So you've got a good position there. But you're right. You're talking about a team that we thought maybe was going to finish with 1 or 2 losses just a couple of weeks ago. They're now staring down a very, very tough matchup come playoff time. The big thing here, I really think, outside of those top 3 teams, and this is not to offend you, I don't know how sold I am on Ridgefield in this tournament yet.
Neither am I. I agree.
I think it's Trinity's tournament to lose. I like the way Danbury is playing. But again, this is a Trinity team, in my opinion, that has not exactly been consistent at any point in time over this, let's call it a 2-year stretch, because they were big favorites heading into tournament time last year as well.
No, I agree, and I agree with the Ridgefield thing. You're not sold on them because they are susceptible to losing in the first round. The one thing I will say is that they have guys still left from that team last year. How many wins late did Ridgefield pull out? And they're still that team that is able to, if they're losing late or if they're losing throughout the game in the second, they're a second half team. They're a late team that is able to have the flair for the dramatics, be able to climb back and win a close game. So that's the one thing I will say that the Tigers certainly do have. But again, they are in a little bit. They are with the X on their back.
I agree. You're absolutely right. They are without a doubt battle tested. Have been through the gauntlet here. But we saw them play against Wilton, and we saw where they can be susceptible.
Yeah.
McNamara was not as good as he needs to be. Did not get to those dirty areas. Did not earn the tough points. And if a team gets hot and can start shooting behind the arc. James St. Pierre is an unbelievable player, but if you're the Ridgefield Tigers, you get into this tournament, Brendan McNamara needs to be the best player on the floor every single night. There's no other way around it, or else you're not going to win another championship.
I fully agree. He has to take over for this team. James St. Pierre, man, he's had a terrific season. To see the transformation he's made from his sophomore season to his junior season has been terrific. Just to see all the hard work that has paid off for him, to see it, unfold on the court this season. He has been able to take over some games. He's really done a terrific job. I want to see Luke McGarity put in some solid minutes as well for the Tigers in the postseason, but you're absolutely right.
Yep.
Brendan McNamara has to be the guy. He was absent against Wilton. He got beat up down low. It just wasn't his night. And you look at the standings right now, the 1-8 matchup could be Ridgefield-Wilton.
I know.
But that is all going to change. We all have a feeling that things are going to flip-flop. But again, if the season were to end right now, it's going to be Ridgefield-Wilton in the quarterfinals, which is unbelievable to think about.
I'm staying with it. I've been on this now for about a week and a half. I think Trumbull is the team that's on the outside looking in. Look, for this class, their game against Central next Monday, there's not going to be a bigger game in their careers. There's no other way around it. They've got to find a way to step up and win that game. Danbury is not going to be an easy one, but if you can take care of business at Central, goes a long way in your FCX postseason hopes.
Those are two extremely tough games, especially on the road. You have to go to Danbury, which is not an easy place to play at all. That's a small gym. Fans are on top of you. You got to expect that the crowd's going to show up in full force that night for the Hatters. And we saw last night that game's going to be at Central. That's going to be at Trumbull. So my apologies.
Central's.
So Trumbull does get the advantage here. So they get a home game. But again, this is a Central team we saw last night. I really like the way that they're playing. Trumbull has to be careful. I agree. They do have the toughest road to get into the FCX tournament, but they have a fantastic coach in Buddy Bray, who's I think is able to. If there's any coach, I think it's him who's going to be the guy that can possibly get them in as a bubble team, get them in that 8th spot in the FCX tournament.
Certainly going to be an exciting finish down the stretch as 5 teams continue to battle it out for the final 4 spots. That tournament not finished yet, but one tournament is set and ready to go. They'll tip it off on Saturday. The girls' hoop bracket coming up when we get back on Nutmeg Sports.
Get a fresh start to the new year by shaking up your meal routine. Walter Stewart's Market is your local source for a delicious selection of fresh and convenient salad shakers, like Southwest salad with chicken, Cobb with organic chicken, Power Vegan with fruit and quinoa, Greek salad with tabbouleh, and grilled shrimp with hominy. Grab one from our salad case or order from our deli today. Walter Stewart's Market, 229 Elm Street, New Canaan, or shop online at stewartsmarket.com.
Want a new experience in car buying? No aggravation, no confrontation, just answers to all your questions. SCAP Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Car buying the way you want it to be. With one of the largest selections of new 2- and 4-door Jeep Wranglers available, we are Connecticut's Wrangler headquarters. Family owned and operated for over 50 years. Call, click, or stop in today. Save thousands right now at the President's Day event and Ram Truck Month. Ends February 28th.
At Galt, we always put you first. As your full-service home heating partner, we provide expert delivery, installation, and maintenance for all your heating needs with knowledgeable, friendly professionals that give you peace of mind 24/7. Galt Family Companies, you first since 1863.
Had a sports injury or slip and fall that needs immediate care? Coastal Orthopedics Walk-In Urgent Care gives you direct access to orthopedic specialists fast without an appointment. Biking, golf, tennis, soccer, whatever the sports injury is, sprain or fracture, Coastal Orthopedics Walk-In Urgent Care can help. Open 7 days a week now at 3 locations. The iPark Building at 761 Main Avenue, Norwalk, 36 Old Kings Highway South in Darien, or in the Westport Medical Center at 323 Riverside Avenue, Westport. Go to myorthoct.com, like them on Facebook.
Back on Nutmeg Sports, taking a look at the final standings for the girls' regular season. We've got the top 8 teams who have officially clinched their ticket to the FCX postseason. It is Trumbull, Wilton, Fairfield, Ward, Norwalk, Stanford, Ridgefield, Staples, and Darien. Obviously, we talked about that Darien team jumping over Ludlow on the last day of the season, Kevin, but I want to talk about Norwalk. Disappointing week for the Bears. They lose 2 games here down the stretch to finish, fall all the way to 4th. That is not an easy matchup against Stanford. Not that there's any easy matchup here, but they went from, hosting a game against what would have been Staples to now 2 years removed from an FCX championship, the defending runner-up here in the Black Knights. So how are you feeling about Norwalk heading into this tournament?
If you look at this team, it's a disappointing week, but I think we mentioned on Monday night the loss against Trumbull after the game. I said, a loss like this is good because right before the postseason starts, you learn about tough losses like that on the road, and losing to Richfield last night by 3 points, tough loss for them. Question is, how can they rebound from 2 losses in a week like this heading into Saturday? Now they get to play at home at noon against Stanford, but yes, that's going to be a difficult matchup against the Stanford Black Knights, who we know how good they are. I think they don't care about their seeding. I think they just want to get in the tournament and prove everyone wrong. But from Norwalk, my only concern is how are they going to rebound from 2 losses? If they can rebound, then I think they learn from those 2 losses that they had this week. But it's going to be a tough matchup against Stanford. 2 very similar teams, but I certainly think Stanford has the height advantage and the size advantage down low.
That's fair. I think experience obviously working in their favor as well. And you think about this now, Norwalk potentially at risk of an early exit here in the FCX tournament, and it'd be very disappointing when you think about the season that they had. But remember, still very young, just 1 senior on this roster. So the learning experience, I get it. At a certain point in time, though, you'd like to see the learning start to pay out. You know what I mean?
You do, and that's why I think for someone like Ashley Wilson on Monday night, how many 3-pointers that she put up and they just rattled out. I mean, if those go in.
Shoot or shoot.
Exactly, shoot or shoot. But I think you look at that and some of those shots go in. Maybe it's a closer game against Trumbull. Maybe last night against Richfield, maybe that's a closer game against the Tigers, and it already was a closer game. Maybe they win that game. But I think on Saturday at home, she's comfortable at that gym. Maybe those 3-pointers do go in. Maybe that's how they beat Stanford. Ashley Wilson has to put up some big points on Saturday. If she does, I really do think they have a great shot at beating the Black Knights.
In the second game from Norwalk High, you've got the 1-8 matchup, Trumbull and Darien. What do the Blue Wave have to do to knock off the defending conference champs?
I mean, it's a tough task.
Perfect game is an answer.
Well, yes, perfect game. I think you look at Chrissy Fiore and Katie Ramsey, they have to realize that, okay, this could be it for our FCX career. This could be it for us. Our senior year, we have to put everything on the line, take every game at its own. And you look at those 2 players, if they can take over, continue to be great defensive players where they can move in transition, get a steal, move up the floor, and get quick buckets, easy buckets. And I think Darien has a great opportunity to keep this a close game. That too, if they can play defensive and keep Julie Keckler in check, keep Ashley McGuire in check, this could be a low-scoring, defensive-heavy game, which maybe that could, we've seen it, heavily favor Trumbull. Maybe that could heavily favor Darien as well. So I think this is going to be a tough task for both teams, certainly for Darien, but I think Trumbull, this is a team that you don't want to face in the first round. So it's going to be a good matchup, but I still think that Trumbull may have too much. But Darien still, I think that if they could put everything on the line and realize for Chrissy Fiore and Katie Ramsey, maybe that if those 2 can go off, it's it's a good opportunity we could see an upset.
All right, we will be at Wilton High School on Saturday. First game is a noon tip-off. Number 3, Fairfield Ward. Number 6, Ridgefield. With the exception of Trumbull, I don't believe there's a hotter team in the conference right now than the Ridgefield Tigers.
I fully agree. This is going to be a Caroline Colonel, Libby McKenna showdown on Saturday afternoon at Wilton High School. That's going to be a good matchup between those two players, 3-sport athletes, a good storyline going to Saturday, those two going up against each other. So I think that's an intriguing matchup. Both teams very similar. They have great size down low, players who can score on the post, but they also can move up and down the floor so fast. So, and the one thing I think Ward and Coach Danko is going to maybe something that they'll work on today and tomorrow in practice is the half-court press that Ridgefield puts on. They've been putting on all season long, and Coach DeMarzo, that's his coaching style. It's defense heavy, and we've seen Ridgefield be successful with that. We've also seen Ridgefield not be successful with that. So I think if the Tigers are able to keep Libby McKenna and Olivia Parisi in check, another upset.
These teams played early on in the year. It was a big win for Ward, 47-27. But really that I thought was a turning point for Ridgefield when they started to appreciate the learning curves they were going through and how to start playing as a younger team and take pride in their defensive efforts. Final game, it'll be our first look at the Wilton Warriors this year, who rally all the way up to get the number 2 seed. They get number 7, Staples, and with the exception of Norwalk this week, I don't know if there is a cooler team in the conference than Staples. Just a tough finish to the season. You think just a week ago, Kevin, they were as high as number 2 heading into this tournament. Now come in as the 7 seed. But we've seen how well they can play. We know how high their ceiling is. If they limit the turnovers, I am not ruling out a Rutgers upset.
I agree. I actually really like the Staples Rutgers in this game. I think them too, just like Norwalk, I think they'll bounce back from a little bit of a cold finish to the regular season in the FCIAC. I think this is a team, Ariana Garrick has to be able to, get some, easy buckets down low. Ellie Fair, I think she has the capability of take over some games. We've seen her do it at the point guard position. So I like Staples in this game. I see Staples coming in motivated. This is going to be a big home game for Wilton. That obviously puts them at the advantage. But I like the Rutgers coming in and putting a spoil on the Warriors on Saturday.
All right, we will let you make your picks officially Saturday morning before the games. But let me ask you this question right now. Over under 1.5. Over under 1.5 the number of high seeds that upset low seeds.
I'm going to take the over.
You think at least 2?
I'm going to say 2. I think we're this 1 through 8.
Yep.
We had all 8 teams are very talented. I'm gonna. That's my pick.
Let's assume number 1 is the safest of those home teams. Who is the most susceptible to get picked off?
I'm gonna say Wilton. I'm gonna say Wilton against Staples is the most susceptible. Yep.
At the Z.
At the Z. I'm going for it. I know. Warrior fans, sorry. I'm going.
He's back on the fence. There we go.
I'm going Staples.
Back on the fence, and that is where we would like to end the show. Kevin, great job. Can't wait for Saturday, man. It's going to be a lot of fun. Postseason coverage officially really about to be in full swing.
Let's get it going. It's going to be a lot of fun Saturday.
For Kevin Coleman, I'm Frank Granito. Thank you for tuning in to Nutmeg Sports. We're back tomorrow morning. Coffee break, 11 a.m. with Kate Czaplinski. Saturday from the Z, noon tip-off. It'll be Ward and Ridgefield. 2 o'clock, we'll have Wilton and Staples only on the HAN Network. Happy birthday, Cheese!